Chapter 6. An icy wind blew in violent gusts, but we marched without faltering. The SS made us increase our pace. Faster, you swine, you filthy sons of bitches. Why not? The movement warmed us up a little. The blood flowed more easily in our veins. One felt oneself reviving. Faster, you filthy sons of bitches! We were no longer marching. We were running, like automatons. The SS were running too, their weapons in their hands. We looked as though we were fleeing before them. Pitch darkness, every now and then an explosion in the night. They had orders to fire on any who could not keep up. Their fingers on the triggers, they did not deprive themselves of this pleasure. If one of us stopped for a second, a sharp shot finished off another filthy son of a bitch. I was putting one foot in front of the other mechanically. I was dragging with me the skeletal body which weighed so much. If only I could have gotten rid of it. In spite of my efforts not to think about it, I could feel myself as two entities, my body and me. I hated it. I repeated to myself, don't think, don't stop, run. Near me, men were collapsing in the dirty snow. Shots. At my side marched a young Polish lad called Zolman. He had been working in the electrical warehouse at Buna. They had laughed at him because he was always praying or meditating on some problem of the Talmud. It was his way of escaping from reality, of not feeling the blows. He was suddenly seized with cramp in the stomach. I've got stomach ache, he whispered to me. He could not go on. He had to stop for a moment. I begged him. Wait a bit, Zalman. We shall all be stopping soon. We're not going to run like this till the end of the world. But as he ran, he began to undo his buttons, crying, I can't go any longer. My stomach's bursting. Make an effort, Zalman. Try. I can't, he groaned. His trousers lowered. He let himself sink down. That is the last picture I have of him. I do not think it can have been the SS who finished him because no one had noticed. He must have been trampled to death beneath the feet of the thousands of men who followed us. I quickly forgot him. I began to think of myself again because of my painful foot. A shudder went through me at each step. A few more yards, I thought. A few more yards, and that will be the end. I shall fall. A spurt of red flame. A shot. Death wrapped itself around me till I was stifled. It stuck to me. I felt that I could touch it. The idea of dying, of no longer being, began to fascinate me. Not to exist any longer. Not to feel the horrible pains in my foot. Not to feel anything, neither weariness nor cold nor anything. To break the ranks, to let oneself slide to the edge of the road. My father's presence was the only thing that stopped me. He was running at my side, out of breath at the end of his strength, at his wit's end. I had no right to let myself die. What would he do without me? I was his only support. These thoughts had taken up a brief space of time during which I had gone on running without feeling my throbbing foot, without realizing that I was running, without being conscious that I owned a body galloping there on the road in the midst of so many thousands of others. When I came to myself again, I tried to slacken the pace, but there was no way. A great tidal wave of men came rolling onward and would have crushed me like an ant. I was simply walking in my sleep. I managed to close my eyes and to run like that while asleep. Now and then someone would push me violently from behind and I would wake up. The other would shout, run faster. If you don't want to go on, let other people come past. All I had to do was to close my eyes for a second, to see a whole world passing by, to dream a whole lifetime. An endless road, letting oneself be pushed by the mob, letting oneself be dragged along by a blind destiny. When the SS became tired, they were changed, but no one changed us. Our limbs numb with cold despite the running, our throats parched, famished, breathless, on we went. We were masters of nature, masters of the world. We had forgotten everything, death, fatigue, our natural needs, stronger than cold or hunger, stronger than the shots and the desire to die, condemned and wondering, mere numbers. We were the only men on earth. At last, the morning star appeared in the gray sky. A trail of indeterminate light showed on the horizon. We were exhausted. We were without strength, without illusions. The commandant announced that we had already covered 42 miles since we left. It was a long time since we had passed beyond the limits of fatigue. Our legs were moving mechanically in spite of us, without us. We went through a deserted village, not a living soul, not the bark of a dog, houses with gaping windows. A few slipped out of the ranks to try and hide in some deserted building. Still 1 hour's marching more, and at last came the order to rest. We sank down as one man in the snow. My father shook me. Not here. Get up. A little farther on. There's a shed over there. Come on. I had had neither the will nor the strength to get up. Nevertheless, I obeyed. It was not a shed, but a brick factory with a caved-in roof, broken windows, walls filthy with soot. It was not easy to get in. Hundreds of prisoners were crowding at the door. We at last succeeded in getting inside. There, too, the snow was thick. I let myself sink down. It was only then that I really felt my weariness. The snow was like a carpet, very gentle, very warm. I fell asleep. I do not know how long I slept, a few moments or an hour. When I woke up, a frozen hand was patting my cheeks. I forced myself to open my eyes. It was my father. How old he had grown since the night before. His body was completely twisted, shriveled up into itself. His eyes were petrified. His lips withered, decayed. Everything about him bore witness to extreme exhaustion. His voice was damp with tears and snow. Don't let yourself be overcome by sleep, Eliezer. It's dangerous to fall asleep in the snow. You might sleep for good. Come on, get up. Get up? How could I? How could I get myself out of this fluffy bed? I could hear what my father said, but it seemed empty of meaning, as though he had told me to lift up the whole building in my arms. Come on, son, come on. I got up, gritting my teeth. Supporting me with his arm, he led me outside. It was far from easy. It was as difficult to go out as to get in. Under our feet were men crushed, trampled underfoot, dying. No one paid any attention. We were outside. The icy wind stung my face. I bit my lips continually to prevent them from freezing. Around me, everything was dancing, a dance of death. It made my head reel. I was walking in a cemetery among stiffened corpses, logs of wood. Not a cry of distress, not a groan, nothing but mass agony and silence. No one asked anyone else for help. You died because you had to die. There was no fuss. In every stiffened corpse, I saw myself. And soon I should not even see them. I should be one of them, a matter of hours. Come on, Father, let's go back to the shed. He did not answer. He was not looking at the dead. Come on, Father, it's better over there. We can lie down a bit, one after the other. I'll watch over you, and then you can watch over me. We won't let each other fall asleep. We'll look after each other. He agreed. Trampling over living bodies and corpses, we managed to re-enter the shed. Here we let ourselves sink down. Don't be afraid, son. Sleep. You can sleep. I'll look after you myself. No, you first, Father. Go to sleep. He refused. I lay down and tried to force myself to sleep, to doze a little. But in vain. God knows what I would not have given for a few moments of sleep.